Well, all right, all right, all right, all right. It's another glorious Wednesday tea sippers, baby. And you know what time it is, honey. So get your crumpets together because it's time to dish tea, and you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meach. Hey, people. Hey, 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 hey. What's going on out there in lovely old Blog Talk land, honey? Thank you for all of your love and your support. If I sound a little bit under the weather, honey, a couple of days ago I had a real bad allergy attack. And within the course of maybe 36 hours, it's starting to try to turn into a cold. And I'm fighting it, and I'm Alka-Seltzer Plusin and hot toddying and all this, that, and the other. So if I sound a bit congested, that's why, okay? So please forgive me if I come across a little bit that way, if I sound like I'm Attila the Hun breathing all hard and shit. But this thing is going to keep moving right along. Honey, if you're listening to us by computer and wish to join in on the conversation, I implore you, please call in at 347-205-9183. Again, that's 347-205-9183. The tea room is open, or the chat room, for those of you who are not familiar with the term. It's open, so I ask you to go over there if you wish to participate in today's conversation. You're more than welcome, honey. Just remember that over there in the tea room, it is the written word, okay? And sometimes we tend to put our own inflictions and things on something and tend to get a little bit that way. So rather than throw your computers and things out the windows or at walls or whatever, just remember it is the written word and it's subject to interpretation. So dish your tea over there responsibly, please. It's okay to disagree. Just don't become disagreeable, okay? Because if I find that you are, I will cut you. Ha, 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 ha. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or Dear Meach letters, looking for some advice or whatever, please feel free to email me at bigmeach@dishingtea.com. That's Big Meach, M-E-A-C-H, @dishingtea.com. I will be more than happy to receive all of your feedback and et cetera, et cetera. If you wish to go a little bit more public, you can always go to the Facebook page at Dishing Tea with Big Meach on Facebook. Now, please note there are two pages. They're both mine. I had a run-in with Facebook and ended up creating a second page and all this, that, and the other. I explain it all the time because I know folks are like, well, why you got two pages? The one that says entertainment is the one I go to more often. The other one says Dishing Tea with Big Meach radio show. I go to the one that says entertainment most, but you can go to either or, and I do pick it up. So Dishing Tea with Big Meach on the Facebook page, okay? So we do have a .com coming up soon. The website is in development, so I would keep you guys posted on when you're able to go to dishingtea.com. That sounds delish. Okay? Now, let me put my disclaimer here because today is going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show, and I'm so looking forward to getting into the meat of this because my guest today, honey, basically has been dishing tea for little pieces of a minute, or at least alluding to it, and, telling his experiences. So we're going to get into that momentarily. But right now, let me give you my disclaimer, and that is this show is for mature audiences, and the language and subject matters may not be appropriate for children or for those who are not mature enough to handle the subject matters. Your listening discretion is advised. I will repeat that. This show is for mature audiences, and the language or subject matters are not appropriate for children or those who are not mature enough to handle the situations or the subject matters. Your listening discretion is advised. Now, we all understand about different jobs and this, that, and the other. If you're somewhere listening and you don't have earphones or whatever, I implore you to do so. Y'all know I have a potty mouth. I make no excuses for it, and you bitches are not going to be coming to me or hit me up and all of that because you got demerits or write-ups or whatever on your jobs. Govern yourselves accordingly, please, and consider yourselves well-warned. Okay, but I be as respectful as possible, so that there is that. Now, before we get right along, I'm going to go quickly and say hello. I'm just going to call their names right today because I want to make sure we have enough time with my guest. And I want to say hello to Georgia Peach and Restaurant and Lounge over in the Underground Atlanta, Trade Day Management and PR firm, Pharaoh's Treasure Box, Parisian Wine Productions, Life Fellowship of Christ Church. I shout out to them because the pastor of that church and founder has passed on now, so that's a special dedication to him. Echam Vidal Couture, Big Brothers Network, the BBN, the Caribbean Boys Entertainment, Kissing After Dark, Swirl Films. All of you, I would like to thank you for all of your love and your support. I will give you more attention towards the end of the hour. But without you, there is no me. So thank you to all of those who have come on as partners and sponsors to help me do what it is that I do, okay? So, as I said, honey, y'all forgive me. This thing is trying to wear on me. I just got off my little donut job, honey, at 8 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, I'm still putting all this, getting my fervor together. So I love it, and we're going to keep on going, okay? So, now, let's get into this show. A few years ago, honey, my guest has made the world of hip-hop cringe. There are some that have maybe ridiculed him. There's some that may have speculated some things. But when the book Hiding in Hip-Hop hit this book stands, there was this immediate look into the hip-hop world as far as a lot of entertainers being on the DL and a lot of entertainers who, may not necessarily acknowledge that they're in some kind of category or whatever, but they're secretly MSMs, that's the politically correct term, for men who have sex with men. Since that time, he has gone on and has been listed as one of Essence best-selling authors. He has now come out with his latest creation. And this is a novel, honey. It's a fiction novel, and it's called Mogul. And he's taken a lot of his experiences from dealing in the entertainment business for the past 15 years. And he has taken and created this work of fiction, darling, that is not to be reckoned with. You understand me? I'm just getting into the book. I haven't finished it yet. So we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about all of these things, and we're going to talk about what this whole phenomenon is with hip-hop culture and being LGBT, all right? So without any further ado, I want to, let me start that over. Without any further ado, I want to open up the phone lines, and I want you to welcome, this is author, humanitarian, and the dishing tea expert. This is Mr. Terrance Dean. Now, hold on just a moment. I'm seeming to be having a little technical difficulty here with my computer. Come on, boo-boo. I am trying to open up your microphone, and it is not having it. Give me what I need now. Give me what I need. In the meantime, while I'm working on this, as I said, when he hit the market with this, Hiding in Hip-Hop or whatever, the entertainment industry, wanted this to be a tell-all book. Y'all know how folks get. Everybody wants everything to be that way. They want everything to be straight folks want to know who's who. They want you to point fingers. They want you to tell it. They want you to dish the dirt. They want to know. They want to know. They want to know. The question is, when they get that information, what are they going to do with it? Does it really matter at these particular points? Do we really care who's sleeping with who's gay, who's not, who's this, who's that? That there has always been something that has fascinated me within our culture. And I have such a hard time with this because for many of us, this here becomes a chore. It becomes a task. It becomes all of the above. And this damn thing just frees up on me. I don't believe it. Yes, I do. Mozilla Firefox always freezes, and it gets on my nerves. Anywho, that there has always been my question when it comes down to dealing with LGBT history with us in our stuff. You know what I mean? Whenever that happens, whenever we sit down and go through issues like this, or dealing with the fag hags, dealing with those who question us, those who sit up and want to be in the know. That has always been a stickler with me. And when Mr. Dean came out with this particular book, I wanted to, at first, I'm going to be honest, and I was kind of skeptical because I didn't understand what was the point. You know, what was the purpose? What was the intention? What was the relevance? And so now that I have my moment, I'm sorry, y'all, I sound like I'm babbling, but my computer just froze. And if any of you deal with Mozilla Firefox, you understand that this bitch loves to shut the fuck down. And I had to restart everything. So that's, if I sound like I'm babbling, that's why. But nonetheless, we want to get into some of the reasons behind our culture and why these things, why is it precedent? Why is it that we're looking for validation in all of its forms, and are we able to handle that kind of validation? Is that something that we want to consider? Is that something that we want to do? Is that something that we're looking for? So those, come on, damn it. I'm sorry, I paused again, and I thought I had it, and it looked like it's doing it soon as, come on. There we go. Mr. Dean, are you there with me, baby?
I am here. Can you hear me?
There you go. Thank you. Oh, my goodness gracious. I do apologize for that, but this thing wanted to act all kind of haywire today. But anywho, enough is enough of that. Thank you, darling. Hello, and welcome to the show. How are you on this old wonderful day? It looks kind of dreary a little bit, but it's going to get up to 95 degrees today here in the ATL. So how about you?
Oh, I am wonderful, blessed, brother, and highly favored.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good way to start this thing off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me interject right here. One of the reasons why this is kind of cute for me is because both of us are Detroit natives, and so I met this brother personally last Wednesday when he was here in the ATL with his book signing for Mogul, and at that signing, he also had a table discussion or a panel discussion where we were talking about the effects of being out and open and being LGBT in the entertainment business, and since the last time that he had one of these kinds of discussions, which was 10 years ago, what was the differences over the last 10 years? And so from that sparked the idea, well, let me bring the brother on the show so that I can sit down and have a personal conversation and maybe get some things, answer the question, because I didn't want to, y'all know, talking is a hobby of mine, and I didn't want to monopolize anything there. So, Mr. Dean, let's start from the beginning, because a lot of folks have heard me say that, and those who know you, those who know your background, that you've been in the entertainment industry. Just like I said, you're from Detroit. So let's start at the humble beginnings. What was your catalyst to get into entertainment, and in what branch?
What was my catalyst to get into the entertainment industry, and what was?
And in what form? What branch of entertainment?
Well, coming from Detroit, I think, we grew up in a very urban community, and I had a desire ever since I was a teenager to want to be in the entertainment industry, because I Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang over my aunt's house. And I was so fascinated and captivated with that song. And I wrote the lyrics down. You know how when you was little, you would sit by the radio and write the lyrics. You would hope the radio would play your favorite song.
Right.
We had tape recorders back in those days.
Back
so
in
you
those
put the
days,
play and record button.
At the
trying to
same
record
time.
the song. Right, trying to record the song. And then you'll play it back and you keep writing the lyrics over, trying to, play back. Okay, what did he say? What they say right there? So that's what I would do. And I just had this fascination of wanting to be in the entertainment industry, and I knew I had to get to New York City. So I started plotting when I was a teenager. How am I going to get to New York City to be a part of this phenomenon that was burgeoning and happening with, at that time it was like LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Salt and Pepper, MC Light, and I was just like, wow, reading about them in Roared Up magazine and Right On magazine.
Did you say Right On? You better.
I did. So I went to college in Nashville, Tennessee. I went to Fisk University, a black university, and graduated. And I went straight to D.C., got an internship at CNN, and I was blessed to have my internship continue in New York City at CNN. So I made it to New York, and I dove head first into the entertainment industry. But I was in film and television. And then people for my latter years I worked with MTV. Okay, that is really wearing me out. That sneezing and coughing. So
I'm telling you, honey.
But I worked in MTV for a number of years. So that's how I produced live show award shows, movie awards, video music awards, hip hop honor, rock honors, all the award shows for MTV.
Okay. All right. So now that you got into the entertainment industry, this has been a lifelong dream, and you're in the business. Let's talk about the business of entertainment. What do you feel may be your strongest lesson that you've learned over the years?
Never give up. There were people who told me, even family members, because I think when you're someone who's of color or black and you work in a culture or business where you don't see too many of us, your family, I think your friends, they have their best interests at heart, but they also don't understand that this business, where you have to make your own journey. You have to be a trailblazer sometimes. So, a lot of people don't see the entertainment industry as a real job. Because I would tell people I worked in the entertainment industry, they were like, so what do you really do? And I'm like, well, that is a real job. So, but I never gave up. Even though the naysayers and people told me, oh, you should get a real job, get a 9-to-5, do something more typical. Because they're coming from Detroit, most people in my family worked in the auto plant, auto industry. So they thought those were stable jobs they wanted most of us to do. And I didn't want to follow in those footsteps. I wanted to do something I felt which was my dream or my journey. So I never gave up, and I kept doing it. I kept pushing at it, even, lots of years. And in that journey of attorney, sleeping on friends' floors and on sofas and staying with various friends and being hungry a lot of times, didn't have no food, nothing to eat. So a lot of times I didn't have the access and the facility, but it worked. I mean, I can look back now over my career, my journey, and be like, I made it. I did it.
Okay. All right. So that there's your greatest lesson. What did you think is the lesson that you still need to learn?
There's always more to learn. That's one thing I've learned. There's always something bigger or something greater than you. You can always get something more from an experience from various people. Just keep learning, keep studying your craft. And that's one of the things I've learned. Just keep studying the craft, and don't get complacent. People get very complacent in this business because, there's always somebody waiting in the ring to take your spot, your position. So don't ever get complacent. All
right. Waiting in them wings, baby. Always an understudy. Okay. Always an understudy waiting to trip a bitch, have you?
Exactly.
Okay, now let's go here, and let's go to when you first started writing and wanted to let your voice be heard and let your voice become a printed piece in the tapestry of the American fabric. What was that initial spark for you, and how did you transition into just saying, okay, I'm going to do this story?
Okay. Sorry, wait a minute. Hold on. So, I'm sorry. There was somebody dealing with the plumbing.
Leaking from the drain, from the back, and from the thing.
Okay. All right. That's the right order?
Yeah. No, I didn't write anything. You probably want to let me pause.
Okay. Well, he's not here. I'll let him know. Mark.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me write out. You got the other copy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, I see. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so I will repeat the question.
Yeah, please. I'm sorry. I know people know that's professional, but I'm on book tour, damn it. I'm old. I can afford to do this, damn it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. If you ain't sound like Aunt Pat sitting on the damn porch with her Kool-Aid glass. Okay, damn it, I'm old. Shit, give my cigarette. Shut the fuck up. Anyway. Anywho, from the time that you noticed or got the yearning to want to write, and going back to your very first books and some of the articles and things that you've contributed over the years, what was that spark to say, yes, let me start to write this and let me tell this story so that it can become a part of the American tapestry?
Well, I mean, I was always writing, even in high school and college, I was always writing. It wasn't until after hiding hip-hop that I found the voice. Because people would always tell me, you have a very powerful voice. I didn't see it. I couldn't hear it. But because I was hiding, because I was not comfortable with myself, my sexuality, so those things I didn't, those things you don't really see within yourself. Other people can always see something within you, but you can't see them, especially when you're dealing with your own issues. Then, I met Elon Harris before he passed, who became a great friend and mentor. Other friends of mine who work in the entertainment industry who just kept encouraging me and kept pushing me. And I continued to – I eventually, allowed myself to open up to hear this voice and to see how powerful it was, to where I finally put pen to paper and I, created my first nonfiction work, which is Reclaim Your Power, which is an inspirational book for men of color, because I wanted other men to be inspired to be and live in their truth and live in their own self-identity of who they are. And that book truly helped me. So that provided the landscape, not only for me inspiring other people, but inspire my own self. Because a lot of times, a lot of my friends say, well, you wrote the book about it. You should be reading your own book, Because I just resort back to those moments of, sometimes it is overwhelming when you hear people respond and react. Because people don't realize this journey didn't happen yesterday. It didn't happen. It wasn't with Hiding in Hip Hop. People think Hiding in Hip Hop was my first book, and that's not. That's my second book. Reclaiming Your Power is my first book. That was the baby. That was the one that nurtured everything. And then people don't also realize Reclaim Your Power was published in 2002. Hiding in Hip Hop didn't come out until 2008. So that was a 6-year time span where I thought, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I couldn't get another book deal. It was hard to get published. and dealing with my own sexuality. So people don't realize that 6 year span, I did a lot of self-introspection, working with God, being nurtured by God, being in spirit, being around spiritual people, developing who I was, developing my voice, to where I am today. So 6 years of that, when you're, and I know people who work in various industries, who 5 years, 10 years of struggling, and nothing has ever manifested for them, but they never gave up, but they kept doing it. So that's what helped. That's what truly helped. And so people like you, who have an outlet, who have your voice that's very powerful in the community, and then you recognize other voices, and I think that's so powerful because your spirit spoke, and real recognizes real.
Exactly. Now here's where okay, let's go here, because in you developing or coming into your authenticity, particularly being in the entertainment genre, and for the most part behind the camera. So a lot of us that want to go into entertainment, most of us want to be in front of the camera. I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a playwright, and so we want to be in front. All eyes are on me, because we're looking for that type of validation, the applause. You were behind the scenes putting it together, which was another side of that creativity. So with dealing with your sexuality and things, what was the difficulties in you coming to terms with yourself, yet still wanted to be very creative, wanting to let your particular brand, your flair, whatever, be seen, yet not become so overtly gay or whatever that was that you was holding yourself back from? What was that struggle like for you?
Well, as I said before, I didn't see any powerful black men, especially who are openly gay, in executive decision-making roles in the entertainment industry. So that was one thing I knew. I said, okay, well, I have to hide. I can't be openly gay because I don't see anybody who looks like me who's doing that. And then I didn't see a lot of us, period, who were in executive decision-making roles as just black men, period. This industry is not as diverse as people may think it is. I mean, you look at the images on television today and in movies, there's not too many of us. It's only a splattering of us who get some type of television, who make it actually in front of the camera. So, people may think it's easy, but this industry is not easy, and it's not you have to have a very, very thick skin, because people do say things, and even though they may not be malicious in their intent, but it comes across very maliciously. So this industry is not very for the faint of heart, because you're going to hear no so many times. And there have been times I've heard no, but I persevered and kept going. But also I knew my path was, designated by God. My steps were ordered. So I knew that nothing or nobody could stop or prevent what was already mine. But working behind the scenes, I knew I had that hide, because all the men that I did encounter who were of color, they were not openly gay. Everyone was hiding, because we realized this is an industry where it is a no boys network. It's all about networking. It's all about resources. It's all about, this industry is about who you know, and these people will help you, get from point A to point B to point C to point D. So those are the type of things that I realized that I had to do to navigate my career. And it's interesting because I know men who are gay in this industry, and they may be gay on out appearances, but they'll never confess and own that they're gay in the industry, because they really are working in an industry that I can't openly say that and advance in my career.
Okay. Now, let's go here, because you said there was a 6-year hiatus between your first book and hiding in hip-hop. Now, after dealing with give me the title of your first book again.
Reclaim Your Power.
Reclaiming Your Power. Coming from that and having your epiphanies with your spirituality and wanting to be a voice for men and men of color to understand what that means. That 6-year hiatus period, how were you able to find the strength to merge those two to come up with the book Hiding in Hip Hop?
Well, yeah, because I wrote so many other books in between. That's why these books are coming out as fast as they are, because during that 6-year hiatus, I was writing. That's one thing. Again, when I talk about studying the craft and continue, to do your craft, because there are going to be hiatuses of people who are interested in being an actor or a singer, that you're not going to necessarily hear or necessarily be on television. And you're going to need that time to help nourish your craft. But I knew, I love writing books that inspire, that encourage, that empower, that uplift. That's my journey. I know that's who I am. That's what I know for sure. I know that's what God has deemed and has given me the talent and the gift to do. I think that's why people, they enjoy my work, they enjoy my books. If you look at the theme of all of my works, they all have a source of inspiration, a source of entertainment, but of empowerment, of encouragement, with a very spiritual theme or some type of spiritual resolution to it. So Hiding in Hip Hop was that book. I really wanted to do some cathartic healing for myself, for my family, and just get into the truth of who I am and no longer hide, but also just be committed to helping to empower other people and young people who are interested in getting into this business, or just trying to find out who they are in their own journey. So, and I thought, I did an amazing job with that. I felt, Hiding Hip Hop, because the story is about overcoming obstacles, never giving up, reconnecting with family, learning family, loving self, and just all about empowerment and inspiration and being true to yourself.
Okay. Now we're here at Hiding in Hip Hop, and I've heard you say at one point or whatever that this was, your coming of age story. This was your coming to Jesus moment, if you will, with understanding you. And everything you just said, was that your intention for the book, to have that kind of impact, or did it just happen to come into its own fervor once it hit the bookstores?
That was my intention. Everything starts with an intention, and that's what I always realize. And that's one of the things I always think about. What is my intention with all of my works, with all of my everything that I do, everyone I encounter? What's the intention behind it? And if my intention is not, if my intention is not of that of something powerful or impactful, then I don't move on it. But I knew Hiding Hip Hop, what the intent was. I wanted people to be inspired. I want people to be encouraged. That's why the story is a lot about me and my journey and my spirituality. My focus is on, developing, coming to terms with who I am and my sexuality. There's the sprinkles of the relationships I've had with some celebrities and things of that nature, and relationships. But people who read the book, that's what everyone who have walked away from the book has said. And the common theme was, I was so caught up in your story, I no longer cared about the industry part. The celebrity. They say your story was much more fascinating, and people really wanted to connect with me, and a lot of people did, and they felt they did connect with me, because so many people are on their journey are struggling. There are a lot of people, and you don't necessarily have to be struggling with your sexuality, but struggling with a family issue or some type of personal issue, and don't feel that you can do it, or you can move forward, or how you can move on. And I was able to, help people see that despite what your background is, despite who you are and what you may think, what people may say about you, that doesn't define who you are, and it doesn't define your journey. And so yes, my intention was to do something very spiritual, something uplifting.
Okay. All right, now let's go here, because I remember when the book came out, and a lot of the naysayers or those who just got caught up in the title and hadn't really opened the book or whatever, a lot of folks was expecting this tell-all, anthology that you were finna to point fingers, that you were finna to out folks, and this, that, and the other. What was it that kept your integrity with the piece so that it wouldn't become one of those? And then you know how our community is. Everybody's looking to make everybody gay. Everybody's gay until proven otherwise is the mentality of most folks here, particularly in the entertainment business. So what was it about those naysayers or during the creative process did you think about the naysayers that they may want to attack and come at you in that particular fashion?
Well, the naysayers, those are people who haven't read the book. So, but that's why I didn't even focus. But I didn't even think about the naysayers. I wasn't even thinking about anybody when I wrote the book. I was thinking about me. I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about my friends. That's what I was thinking about. But other people, they were not insequential to me. So. And then when the book came out, before the book came out, there was all this chatter. There was all this blogs, and people were talking about it, and people wanted to have their say, and they wanted to do the negativity, and I didn't care. I was like, well, how can you talk about a book that you haven't read yet? So,
how about it?
And how could you talk about a book that I haven't even written yet? Because at that time the book hadn't been written.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't even concerned about it. I mean, people want to talk. I mean, one of the things I learned when I was very young as a teenager, my aunt told me this, and I live by that motto for the rest of my entire life. She said, people talked about Jesus. What makes you think they won't talk about you?
Okay.
And when she told me that, I was like, I was so unbothered as a teenager in high school and when I went to college. People used to always say that to me. They were like, "Wow, you don't really care what people." I'm like, "So what? I don't care what people say. What can they do? You can talk about me. That's not going to kill me. I'm still going to wake up tomorrow. I'm still going to live."
I dig that. Okay, well, then let's go here, because now you didn't think about them then. But now that you've become comfortable with your sexuality, that you've become your authentic self and still growing from that point, now being in the entertainment industry and being a face who was a black face that's out, open, proud, and still doing what you do, now are you still getting those same people who may have pulled your coattail or whatever, who still want you to dish the tea, give the dirt, this, that, and the other, about who is this or who is that, just to stir up the pot? Or, have folks become more respectful for you and see you as a role model in this industry?
Both. I think people have become very respectful. I mean, if you look at them now, the same blogs that were talking about me before have now embraced me. Mm-hmm. They're not covering me in a different aspect, in a different light. They're like, wait a minute, we respect this guy because I didn't take the Corinne Stephens route, name names, and then become messy with it.
Right.
Like you said, becoming a voice and an advocate, and how tactful I've handled the situation. And because I didn't maliciously go out to out people, because that wasn't my intent in the beginning. And so even after going into this 2 years after the book has been released, I still haven't, 3 years after the book has been released, I still haven't named names. I still haven't given people any names. Goes to show the content of my character, of who I am. Because I know it's a process. This is a process when people are coming out. Nobody wants to be outed. Nobody. I mean, think about all the times those young people or many people or even yourself, when you were trying to figure out who you were, you wouldn't want somebody to come and go to your family or go to your friends and publicly out you. Because we know the devastation that would do and the devastation
exactly.
Our sight, who we are. So, those things, like I said, I get so much love and respect. I mean, bloggers now, they want to talk about it because they say, yeah, this is an issue. Plus, I'm intelligent. We just speak about a subject matter very intelligently. People respect you more so.
Right.
And I'm not afraid to be out. And that's another thing. I'm not afraid to be out.
Right. Okay, so now we've gone from hiding in hip hop to now Mogul. And like I said, I'm starting to read it, and I've read in one of the junkets somewhere someone was comparing you and said that you were a cross Elin Harris meets Zane, and I was like, interesting. I said, no, this is more so like a Jackie Collins kind of a feel for me, you know, because of how you are approaching the stories and, you know, the colorful expressions and the way how everything is starting to line itself up. Now, you know, now that we're here at this particular point, first off, let me ask this. What is the intent of this book? Because from what I'm reading right now, I see this going in many different directions as far as a learning tool and folks understanding, I won't just say the entertainment business, I'm just going to say business, period. Because a lot of what I'm starting to read in this book, we hear that in business, not just it's just more prevalent, or it seems to be more dastardly because it's entertainment and everything is so open. But these are business techniques, quote unquote. You know, weak, evil, grin afterwards. What is the intent of this particular novel?
Well, again, during that 6 years time span, and when I was before hiding in hip hop, a very good friend of mine happened to be an editor at one of the big publishing houses. And I used to pitch story ideas to her. And this is before I even told her about, and this was before I told her about my sexuality and who I was. And even before hiding hip hop, you know, I was thinking about writing that book. And one day she finally said to me, you know what, Terrance, I think you should write what you know. And when she said that to me, I knew what she was saying. She was saying, I know who you are. I know about you, your sexuality. Don't be afraid to write what you know. And immediately the next day, I started writing Mogul. Because she was right. She was like, write what you know. Because I was so busy trying to hide and trying to be, you know, I mean, to do these other types of stories. So I was like, write the story that you know that's very true. And I'm glad that you said it's very Jackie Collins, because I always say my writing, and because I've studied and read so many other authors, but I just put myself across between Jackie Collins, Dominique Dunn, and Elin Harris. You know, those three, because they write about real life situations, but fictionalize them. And I said, I know about the entertainment industry. I have over 15 years of working in this business. I've seen, done, and know a lot. So I was like, just take a story, fictionalize it, and like you said, make it very Roman Clef, which is very true to life, but also a lesson. Because I think so many people, like you said, are very fascinated with the entertainment industry, how it works, what's going on, how things are get done, you know, how deals are made. And have it as a cautionary tale, you know, because I said these books to serve as a moral compass for the reader, because we follow the main character, Big AT, and I want the people to ask themselves, what would you do in that situation? What would you do? Because all of us have a moral compass of what we will and will not do, and how far we will go to make our dreams happen or to do something. So, like you said, it's a cautionary tale, you know. And there's a lot of truth to it. Yes, this industry is, like I said, is not for the faint of heart. It's not an easy business. There are lots of things you have to do, lots of compromises you have to make at the cost of your own morality. And are you willing to do that?
Dancing with the devil, if you will. Wow. Now, see, here's something here. Because one of the things that I think fascinates folks with the entertainment industry is all of the sexuality that has been the backdrop, as well as the undertones, as well as the overt tones, because they always say sex sales, sex sales, sex sales. From your particular point of being in this industry, particularly, and I'd like to say particularly behind the scenes, because you're right there in the beginning of that creative process to produce the work that the general public sees. See, when we get it, it's already done, it's glamored, it's down, but you are right there in the trenches of saying, okay, this is going to work, that ain't going to work, we need to pick this, right there. What do you feel might be that factor that keeps us so fascinated with how sexuality plays in this business? Is it just a moral thing that we as human beings just all just flock to or whatever because we have no control over it? Or do you think that a lot of us have been taught that we have to use what we got to get what we want, and most of the time that always means sex? Am I making sense with that question?
A little.
Basically, let me go here. With understanding that sex sells, what do you think is the fascination of us wanting to use sex all the time in this business, thinking it's going to get us anywhere? Because it's so open, it's so free, it's so this, it's so that, and it's always the backdrop of everything. Why is it after seeing it for yourself up close and personal, or do you think that sex is always that thing that pushes us to having our dreams fulfilled, or whatever the case may be?
No, I think sex is a way to cover up some of the issues, the real issues that a lot of us are dealing with, and we use sex as a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So, in using it as a coping mechanism, it can be dealing with low self-esteem, be dealing with issues of abandonment, of defeat, or for love or acceptance. I talk about it in hiding in hip hop. For me, sometimes I used to equate sex with, oh, he likes me, so let me have sex with him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us do that. We have sex with people because someone likes us, just to prove to them that we like them as well, and not knowing that's not what we need to use sex for. Or even in this industry, for validation. People use it for validation, to feel validated in who they are. And if it's a very hypersexual industry, unfortunately. If you look at any mainstream artist, like I said, Trey Songz, notoriously is always taking off his shirt.
Right.
Hypersexual masculinity right there at his finest. And all his songs deal with sex. Nicki Minaj, who has the voluptuous body, the voluptuous ass, and everyone always focuses on that body part. Trina, Lil' Kim, any artist out today, they always talk about is sex, because I think they're dealing with other issues that are underlying to what the real cause and problem, to what they may be manifesting or dealing with within their own lives. But even looking at, Kelly Rowland and her new song, Motivation. And it's interesting because she's had a successful career with Destiny's Child. She had successful albums thereafter, but were not quite mainstream successful. But it wasn't until a song about something very sexually overt and the way she dances and how she is in the video and how she performed at BET Awards. And everybody's like, oh, my gosh, she was so good. I'm like, really? So she had to sell sex in order for you guys to validate her. And everyone kept talking about how, and think about how many of those years everybody kept saying she has a great voice, she can sing, she's beautiful, she's talented. But it wasn't until Motivation came, which is a song about sex, and she has to shake her ass and dance hypersexually on television to get validation from our people.
That's where I was going next. Okay, interesting. Because it was a fabulous performance. It was a performance, and we all know that. But having breaking that down, because I'm the same way with that, here's an interesting question. Do you think, having experienced it the way that you have, that's a cultural thing? Is it only our culture as blacks and ethnicities that experience that, or are you seeing that across the board? Because I don't. We hear about it, but our Caucasian counterparts have been playing that game, and it's kind of like dull. I don't think we have the same fascination with them as we do within our own culture. Do you think it's cultural?
Well, I definitely think it's cultural. I mean, think about it. Look at all the sex tapes and the naked pictures that's been coming out, within our culture, within the, the industry. I mean, Amber Rose, the new pictures of her, and Chris Brown, and I mean, it just goes across the board. Every artist, there's always some type of sex tape, some type of sex picture, that we feel as if we have to, put out there to, make ourselves feel as if we need to be accepted. I don't know, as a whole or something. Yes, I do. I do think it's cultural. I mean, look at any African-American video on BET in the top 10. If there's not a girl in their video half shaking her ass, half naked,
right?
The guy walking around boasting his bravado of how many women he got, the sexual positions he want to do to her, things he want to do to her, that's just how it is.
Okay, now that's the part that's troubling me, because we keep saying that's just how it is. What are the strides being made to, or can it be made, that may help to loosen that? Because we have other artists, our old school artists. I remember Patti LaBelle saying in an interview that when she left Def Jam Records, it was because of that same thing, because they wanted her to dress a little bit more provocatively, and she said, "No, I don't do TNA like that, honey. This, that, and the other, blah 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 blah," and as a gimmick or something like that. And they wanted to compare her. What you saying, voulez-vous coucher? She said, "Honey, that was a different time, and that particular song was about that particular act. It wasn't a part of who I am." And when she got to explaining all that, here we are in this day and age with the industry still being that way, and still with us as African American folks in this industry. I still feel it's that Amos and Andy step and fetch it kind of mentality, because we tend to gravitate to it. They get mad at Tyler Perry because Tyler Perry got, his work is considered, a lot of folks think he's demeaning black folks and this, that, and the other, but yet he's worth $50 million. This man, he sells out everything. With all of the songs that's coming out, all of the misogyny and things that goes on with women being objectified and this, that, and the other. As it being cultural, I just really think that there's something to this. And from your position, is this the machine itself? Have you been there where those who the powers that be, does it seem like it's a marketing ploy? Does it seem like it is what? Where can we point the fingers and then say, this is where we need to curtail it, this is where we need to nip it at the bud, or at least put something else out here that will do damage control?
Well, it's everyone's responsibility. It's all of we all have a part to play. The consumer, because the consumer can say, this is not what I want. I'm not going to buy this. I'm not going to support this. So it starts with the consumer. The record labels are only going to do and put out what they feel as if people want to hear, buy, and see. And if that's all that people are continuing to see and continue to put out, then if the industry feels as if, well, this is what you guys like, this is what you guys want to see. I mean, if you look at the movies or any videos or listen to the music, look at what's selling. What's the number one song on the radio in the urban community? And they just want to keep duplicating that, because at the end of the day, people don't realize the entertainment industry is just that, entertainment. And it's a business. It's a business, and people forget that. It's the business of entertainment. So they have to sell whatever they feel is necessary to sell to make money, and that's what it is at the end of the day. And they're going to find an artist who's willing to do it at all costs. So, yes, you may be one of those conscious, I'm going to have on my clothes and I'm not going to sell myself out. They're like, okay, fine, good. Because for every one of you, there are 20 of you who are willing to take their clothes off. And we see that on the blogs. We see that again, the YouTube videos. We see that on King magazine. You can pick up any King magazine. There are so many video girls who want to be video girls, who want to take their clothes off and show their ass just to get some recognition. There's some young boy right now who's probably thinking, and it's interesting because I get so many young boys who hit me up saying, I'm going to be the next R&B singer, I'm going to be the next big act, da-da-da. And I look at their pictures on their fan page, on their Facebook page or on their website, and there's always pictures of them with their shirts off in their underwear or their thumb in their waistband, showing pubic hairs. And I'm like, so this is what they think they need to do in order to get a deal. And I'm like, put some clothes on. If you put some clothes on, because I don't want to see, don't give me the show before I get to hear the show. Because now I want to hear the show. You're already selling sex before I even get to the main feature. So you already let me know what you're willing to do. You're letting me know what you're willing to do. And that's how people get preyed upon in this industry. Because people will find people like that, and they'll say, "Okay, you want to be in this industry?" And then people get offended because they're like, "Well, why is he approaching me like that?" I'm like, "But you were on your Facebook page half naked."
So you're going right where I was going to go, because we've been focusing on the artists, and what they have been willing to do, what they're willing to sell themselves for. And you raised an interesting point when you said the moral integrity of the folks. In this business, you will be forced to make decisions that will challenge all of your morality. But what about the person making the decisions? The head honchos, those who pray after those kinds of folk.
What about?
That is the question, because I see that's where we're going with Mogul, with Big AT. Like I said, as I'm getting into this, he got all the power, and a lot of the folks can sit up there and the snap my finger, I could get what I want, kind of mentality. What is it about that particular person? Is there a check and balance with that particular person in this industry that folks don't know, or that ought to be aware of? Or should they just leave it all alone? That particular person, that's the mover and the shaker, with that kind of power, with that praying ability. How is there such a thing to immobilize him? Is it a tranquilizer gun like we do with lions or whatever? What is that person? What does one do, particularly when they want to start a career?
Those type of people exist all throughout the industry, and there's no way you can get around them. A lot of them have extreme power. And they can help make your career, and they can help not make your career. It's up to you. You will encounter them. It's up to you what you're willing to do. Again, it's going back to your moral compass and what you're willing to compromise of yourself. Not everyone in the industry is like that. You will meet very honorable, upstanding people in this business, but you're going to meet a lot of snakes in this business along the way. And it's very challenging, because you want to be put in situations and made offers that are going to sound too good to be true. And I always tell people, if it sounds too good to be true, trust me, it really is. It's very difficult and very hard to tell someone what to do, because each individual, their journey is different, their morality is different. And you can tell someone all day, if I were you, I wouldn't do this. But if they've been trying to break into the business for 5+ years and nothing has manifested, and they met someone who has said, I can make your dreams come true, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z for me, do I stand between them and their dream and tell them not to do it? Or, hopefully they'll make the best choice and decision. But I've seen people in that situation, who have decided, I'm going to take this route, I'm going to take this opportunity, and nothing ever manifested. And it's not because the promises were not delivered. It's just the nature of this industry that it may not be the time. It may not be your time. It may not be the moment. Right. People don't realize that. Everything is all about timing, If you listen to every artist will tell you once they were signed, it took years before the album came out. It didn't come out overnight. It didn't come out.
Right.
It took years. They had to be nurtured. They had to be developed. They had to be trained. It was the right time, because sometimes they don't want to put out competing artists against another competing artist. Sometimes they want to wait, to see what the momentum is from what are the fans, what are they feeling, what do they want, what do they want to listen to, it's so many other factors that people don't realize. People feel like, I'm going to go out there and do it. And I'm like I said, for me, getting to this point where I am with Mogul, this is not an overnight journey. This is 10 plus years of writing to get to Mogul. This is only my 5th book. So in 10 years, that's a long time, But also, I only have 5 books, So it's just all about everything. I think, as I said before earlier, your appointed time, and when God has everything being ready for you, it will happen.
Here's something for you. Being that a lot of folks come to you for advice and looking to you as an insider, wanting you to help them get in the business, what has been the most disappointing thing that you've seen? What's been the most disappointing, and then what has been the most painful thing that you've seen, and wanted to do something about but couldn't?
People who don't listen is the most painful, because they will come to you. And I stopped giving advice. I did. One time I stopped giving advice, and I stopped helping people get into the business because, like I said before, this business is very. Not that I stopped. I became very selective for who I helped to get into the industry. Because there are certain people that have a certain desire, a certain interest, and you can see it in them. Like, you can feel it. You can feel the energy. It's almost like, in the book in Mogul where I talk about Pop, he knows who has that it factor. Pop is the string puller and the puppeteer. There are some people you just know who have that it factor. Like, they're already grinding, they're already hustling. They know what they want to do, they're focused. And you can just give them a piece of information and they'll run with it and they'll make a way. As opposed to those who keep coming back to you over and over again, seeking advice and always complaining. That's one thing that I don't like is someone who complains a lot and someone who's not a go-getter. So what has been most painful is watching someone in the business crash and burn. And it's because of their own doing. It's because of the people that are around them. And as much as you try to get involved and help and to be to do the intervention, they don't see it for themselves again. Because people get caught up in the limelight and the beauty of they get caught up in the illusion of the beauty of the illusion, and not realizing that it's just an illusion. People can love you today and hate you tomorrow. I've seen that happen a lot of times.
Wow. So wow. And
look at it. Look at the classic example is watching the rise of Beyonce. When she was a Destiny's Child, everyone loved Destiny's Child. Oh my God, they love Destiny's Child. Then all of a sudden, when Beyonce became the solo artist, it was almost this love-hate relationship with her. Then it became more of a hate relationship. Because I remember when Love, I was like saying, "Oh, she needs to take a break. She keep putting out all these albums." I'm like, but you don't realize in this industry, when you're at the top, you have to keep going because, like I said before, there's always someone waiting in the wings, waiting to take your spot.
Now let's go here because I'm seeing this about to happen in Mogul with Big AT, and that is how folks create themselves, create their own monsters.
Yeah.
You got the money, you got the power, and because you've had all these yes men around you, everybody's afraid to tell you no. And when you get that no, particularly from someone who you feel is a peon, And then that's that first taste of blood I feel, and then from that point on it starts, and that hunger to want to crush and destroy seems to get that. It has a snowball effect. In your experience with that, or seeing it from that point of view, how would you advise someone about the dangers of becoming their own monster, or their own mogul, if you will?
It's very hard. Like you said, it's very hard because, again, it comes with their own moral compass. It comes with their own moral values, their own who they are as an individual coming into this industry. But there's someone who were or who always felt as if they had something to prove, who always felt as if revenge, and I'm going to be vengeful and get back at all the people. There's nothing you can do to stop them, because once they're on that mission and that journey, there's no stopping that person. There's no turning back that individual. But the great thing is, surround yourself around wonderful people, wonderful fans, not fans, but wonderful friends and family members who nurture you, who support you, who will tell you the truth about yourself. And that's one of the things I've done and consistently do, is surround myself around my friends, around people, who tell me the truth about myself. I mean, I can take a trip home to Detroit and I get a real reality check.
Okay.
Because the reality is they don't see Terrance Dean all day. They're like, that's just Terrance. I can still go back to the hood. It still be Terrance to them, But people see me on the blogs. They see, he's doing all these great things. People say they're fans of mine. And my family, I can just go back with them and just laugh. Even with my nephews or my cousins, little cousins, like they have no concept of what this is. So they break it down. They will break you down real easy. And I think that's what happens. People. That's why a lot of people feel who are celebrities who surround themselves around their family and friends, people who know them the best and know them the most, who are not afraid to tell them the truth about themselves. Because when you do surround yourself around with a whole bunch of yes men, that's all you're going to hear is yes. And then even when you're falling, people going to still tell you yes, you're still great.
Right.
And you're falling, crashing, and you don't realize it until all of them are gone and you're empty-handed. And you're like, what happened to all those wonderful people around me who told me yes? And they were just there to ride the wave with you. Once the wave crashes, they're gone.
Interesting. Now let me ask you this, because you've used the word moral compass several times within this particular journey, and how everyone needs to be in tune with that. How does spirituality play in the entertainment business? And the part two to that is, how often do you see folks actually leave their spirituality behind to have to return to it later because of the business?
Well, you can look at any artist who's done that. Kelly Price has done it. Mace has done it. Loon. You can look at any bad boy artist. They all went back to their spiritual base, their foundation. And I think a lot of people struggle with it. Look at Michelle from Destiny's Child. Look at R. Kelly. He, struggles with it, his spiritual. It shows up in his music. And then, a lot of artists will tell you they struggle with that. There's a good side of them that really wants to do morally right, be morally conscious, to be spiritual, to do the right, do the work, what God has deemed them to be. But then the industry calls, the illusions, the drugs, the power, the sex, the fans, and all of the accoutrements that come with that cause them. So they're being pulled in two different directions. So, I think that's why so many artists struggle, and they try to walk that fine line, and it's unfortunate you can't walk the fine line. God says either you're warm, either you're hot or you're cold. You can't be lukewarm. So the spirituality, does it exist in the entertainment industry? It exists on a personal level. A lot of artists don't publicly speak about it, or they're not about it personally. Publicly with it. The industry as a whole doesn't celebrate or embrace it. But again, it's up to you, your own. You know, like I said, having that. You said go back to that moral compass. That's where your moral compass is. That spiritual guide. You know, what are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the spiritual man, woman voice in you, and let that be your guide? And I've done that, and I could just truly say that God has just truly been a blessing in my life, and to be able to stand and be in this conversation with you today, where I am. I've had 2 successful careers. I went from one successful career right into another one in writing. Only God can make that happen. Only God can do that.
Wow. And I asked that question because now with the rise of gospel music and you know, we have an avenue for quote-unquote spiritual entertainment business and to be out front and open with your profession for being a spiritual person. But I'm seeing even in that, you know, a lot of folks get caught up in the business of record sales or this, that, and the other, to where the music becomes tainted to me. At least that's how I hear it. It's not authentic as it was when you listen to it on Sunday morning. Now we're listening to it because I'm under contract and got to do this album because, you know, and this, that, and the third. So that's why I had posed that question. But now that Mogul is here and it's taken off, it's running. Do you think that there's going to be a sequel to the book?
Definitely going to be a sequel.
I'm not going to tell everybody where I am in it because I want to. I'm very animated when I read, and I like to get into the book, and so I'm going to be blogging and stuff on my Facebook page as I get through it. But I'm telling you, I'm going to reiterate the whole. Well, I'm seeing you as a male Jackie Collins in this particular piece because you know what I'm reading so far. You know the sexual encounters, you know, or the steaminess of everything. It takes you so that way, and then being openly gay and carrying on with the extra twist on it, baby. You know, it's just it's written porn. It's erotica all day. So for me, you know, it's taken me there, and I can't wait to see how this is going to end for me. And when I end it, trust me when I tell you, you will hear my mouth. Okay, you will hear my mouth now, because it's already. I'm starting to pick up my momentum with it. And I'm like, ooh, you better. No, you didn't. And I'm one of those girls who read like that. So
I love it. I do. I love it.
So at this particular point, now, here's a question that I want to ponder, and that is, do you see yourself as a voice of reason in the entertainment business for openly black men of color, or have you graciously accepted that position because other folks are saying that you are?
Oh, they are? I didn't know they would say.
Well, from the book signing, I'm going on what I've seen at the book signing, what I've read on some of the blogs that in doing my research on you and doing some background. What I'm seeing and what I'm reading, a lot of folks are saying that you are, a voice, and particularly just as you said, and just as Maurice Jamal was saying at the table read, having someone there who's willing to stand up and who's willing to be themselves authentically is always a positive. If we can get other folks to do that, then we're able to create better product, better this, better that, without all the hang-ups that comes with it, and the hiding. So that's what I'm saying. Do you feel that you are a voice or being led to be a voice because there hasn't been one there, or are you graciously accepting it because folks are saying that this is what you're doing for them?
Well, I'm humbled that people are graciously saying that. I mean, that's truly a wonderful compliment. I truly, truly, truly. I just say I'm just a writer. I just write what I know is true, what I know to be truthful, and so hopefully, if people like it, they like it. If they don't, then that's fine. But one of the things again. And people don't know this, but people should know this. But as they tell celebrities, in the entertainment industry, don't ever read the reviews or blogs about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I tend to shy away from, which is because with high end hip hop, that was my friends who were celebrities tell me that they're like, Terrance, don't read what they say about you because we know it's not true. And I had done that mistake of reading what people were saying, and it hurt. But then I realized. Those comments, I was like, but those people don't know me. So that's why I say I didn't care any longer. So I tend not to read a lot of the blog, after it's something, because, It's also, I was like, I don't know what people are saying. I mean, when people, what matters to me the most is when I get the emails from the readers who say that the book has affected them and impacted them. And I'm like, wow, that's really wonderful because for so long I didn't think I had a voice. And to know that the voice that I do have, it is making an impact in other people's lives. So that means more to me than anything in the world.
All right. I like that. All right. Now we've talked about it. Tell everybody where they can find the book. And, in fact, all of your books, to let everybody know where they can find you.
My books are in bookstores everywhere, Borders, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Walmart, Target, bookstores everywhere, black-owned bookstores, independent bookstores. They're also on Amazon.com. All of my books have come up. I have 5 books. Mogul is the most recent book, and it's my first full-length fiction novel, and the reception and the response to that book has been truly amazing and overwhelming. So I'm thankful for that. People can go to my website. It's www.mrterrancedean.com, and that's MR for MrTerranceDean.com. I'm on Twitter. They can follow me on Twitter @Terrance Dean, and my name is spelled TerranceDean. And, I just really thank everyone for the support and for their love for, this journey, because I know it's going to go extremely much further than I can ever anticipate or imagine. So I just be patient. Let's all go on this journey together, and I'm looking forward to where we all end up.
Well, dig that. Now, here's a burning question. I want to end on this because I want to, because I have you here, your book, Straight Talk from Your Gay Friend, that went out to women, what was, we know what the motivation behind it is as far as wanting to understand women, but what was the impact of that book with women? Because a lot of times I really believe that women like to see gay folks as their little pets and their toys or whatever at times because, they know we're honest with them and this, that, and the other. And so I think a lot of the times they run to us, to get them out of situations or to find information or whatever. But what was your impact with that book and that particular audience?
It was amazing because I have a column with the same name. It's called Straight from Your Gay Best Friend. So the title of the book is named after the column. And it's because women were writing in. I mean, I had gotten emails from letters from women asking about some relationships and career, their life in general. So I knew I already had a huge following and a huge readership of people, women who appreciated my commentary and tongue-in-cheek, response to them. So I just, with the book conceptualizing that in the column, again, like I said, I never focus on the negative. That's just not a place where my head goes. So when people bring up negative thoughts and negative ideas to me, I'm like, why are you even thinking that? Because that's not even a place I was in my head. So if I don't have that thought, why are you having that thought? So the responses has been overwhelming. Like, women loved it. They loved the column. They loved the book. That book has truly been amazing. It truly has opened up a lot of doors and a lot of places, that people who didn't know me before, women who did know me from that book. They didn't even know about high-end hip-hop. So, that's something, the world is so big and so vast. I don't be consumed in, people assuming that everyone knows who I am, or I may assume that everyone may know of me. And I realized that was a huge wake-up call when people were like, oh, I didn't even know you wrote high-end hip-hop. What is that book about? These are women who lifestyles in life, with their careers or wherever, have them in a totally different sphere that is opposite or completely not in my sphere or the world that we may think people may know of. People just hear about Mogul, didn't even know about high-end hip-hop or my other books, So, it's opened up much more doors and many more doors. But it's because of God's grace that I'm here, and that's why these things are happening. So I watch as my territory increase.
All right. And your nonprofit organization, Men's Empowerment. Give us a little bit about that so that folks know that you're also working in the community to help build the community.
Very much so. It's an organization I created to help for men to come together, inspire, encourage, and empower one another, despite their sexuality, their cultural identity, or their ethnic background. And I really wanted a space to create where men could come in dialogue, to share ideas, to help empower their communities, themselves, and their families. So the group has grown exponentially larger than I had anticipated, and I'm thankful because it's a conversation that so many men are looking to be a part of and be included in, where they can sit in dialogue with another fellow brother, and know that there's going to be some type of resources and outcome solution that they can walk away with and be empowered.
Okay. Now, how does people find out about Men's Empowerment Incorporated?
Again, that's on my website as well. They can go to www.mrterrancedean.com, and all the information is there.
Well, all right. Well, all righty then. This has been a very interesting conversation, and it's very humbling for me because as someone who is in this business as well, putting my toes in the water, I finally got my whole foot up in there now. I haven't completely immersed myself in it because I'm watching, and wanting to build a team and make sure that everything is packaged well, so that when it's presented, it has little to no flaws to be picked apart or whatever. But this has been very enlightening. Particularly, one of the things that's sticking in my craw is that moral compass. That's what's sticking in my craw with me, and I think that's going to be my motivation behind what I do from this point on, is understanding my moral compass and what am I willing to compromise on. I think that there is the greatest lesson that you've said today.
Wow.
With understanding the industry. What are you willing to compromise on in dealing with your moral compass? Ooh, that's the tea right there. So, Mr. Dean, I thank you so much for your time, because I just got my 90-second little do-I-did-it here in my ear. So we're coming to the right. This it always goes fast. So we're coming to the end of this, and I thank you for coming on, dishing your tea with me. And like I said, honey, you will hear my mouth as soon as I get to the last word of this, because I got to see what's going to happen to Big AT, because I know somebody's going to fuck him up. But anywho, yeah, because he's pissing me off. But anywho, thank you for coming on to the show, and I hope to bring you back at any time. You could use this as a platform, honey, to take your message, that moral baby, that's it, and share it with everyone. So thank you for your time, baby.
Thank you, graciously and humbly. Thank you for allowing this space and this opportunity. I appreciate it. And your listeners, thank you for your listeners as well.
Oh, okay. Well, we all done. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Terrance Dean, author of Hiding in Hip Hop, and his latest creation, Mogul. Baby, I'm telling y'all better come on and jump on this one, because this one here is going to send you into oblivion. I'm telling you, I'm already into it, and when I get done, I'm going to give y'all the play-by-play. So with that in mind, my babies, honey, this here has been another fascinating show. I'm going to go nurture this cold, honey, and get myself together. Thank you to all of the sponsors. Let me play this as we roll up out of here. Okay, then it don't want to play. Well, all right, that there, honey, is technology for you. So with that in mind, my babies, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And there we are.
The dream has become a vision. The vision has become reality. After 12 years of committing to an organization that taught liberation theology, leaving because of having outgrown the teachings of that institution, facing the crossroads of deciding to return to traditional religious teachings or to move forward in the newness of spiritual awareness, the time has come where Detroit native and internet talk show host Big Meach shares with the world what has been placed on his heart. Awakenings, Epiphanies Along a Spiritual Journey is a collection of blogs that motivates, inspires, and encourages a reader to explore the depths of who they are and stimulate spiritual growth and development. It is designed to stimulate conversation and dialogue as readers share their own experiences of what the offerings in the book mean to them. Whether the reader agrees or disagrees with what it has to offer, Awakenings, Epiphanies Along a Spiritual Journey, the dialogue created and generated from discussions, will be a catalyst for introspection, healing, and personal development. For more information or to get your copy, please go to www.facebook.com/AwakeBigMeach or download your copy to your Kindles, smartphones, or iPads at www.smashwords.com. Awakenings, Epiphanies Along a Spiritual Journey. Are you ready? Are you ready to take the journey? awakenings, epiphanies along a spiritual journey.
That's it, everybody. The tea has been dished. The crumpets have been served. If you love me, tell a friend. If you hate me, tell an enemy. But just know one thing. This thing will go forward one way or the other. Until we meet again, I'll see you next time at the same appointed place, at the same appointed time.